When did you realize your best friend wasn't really your friend? When I opened a drawer in her house and recognized my jewelry, trinkets. I looked at it all, took back my mother's ring, and left. 3 years this person stole from me. I was her only friend. I'll never understand it. Basically same thing happened to me. Saw the very distinct bracelet my mom got me for Christmas and the pair of earrings my sister got one of her friends as a gift that went missing before she could give them to her out in the open in her bedroom. It wasn't the first time either, but it was definitely the last. I too was her only friend. When I asked her to be my maid of honor, and she left the care package I made for her when she was sick in the hospital a few weeks back on my doorstep in a box, and stopped returning my texts and calls. She reached out a couple years later, and I asked why she ended the friendship the way she did, and her response was she was just being a dick. We are still not friends. Can't blame you in the slightest. Being a dick is not an excuse to cut someone off. I guess she resented me and the relationship I had with my now husband, but instead of talking to me about how she felt, she just dumped me. It really screwed me up and kinda ruined how I interact with my friends now. Everyone is arm's length, and I don't open up at all to them, and I'm constantly worried I'm a bad friend. I'm glad we're not friends anymore. I don't need that in my life. When I realized that there is not necessarily a correlation between oldest friend and best friend. Same. I just realized our lives went in different directions, and that's okay. My whole friend group, they never really talked to me, unless they needed something like homework and etc. Took a while to realize. Too long even. But, as much as it hurts, it was unfortunately the best option I had at the time. See, I have a group of friends where we hang out sometimes, but I'm always the go-to one for homework help. I don't know if they're using me or not, because I tend to get paranoid about this type of stuff. In my friend group we're all pretty smart, but one of us is very smart. Has the homework friend, but we still love to hang out with him, and we don't use him for answers or anything. Has just a smart kid who plans on being a teacher after college. When I received screenshots of a post in a social media group bashing me and saying truly horrible things, the person who sent them was a random stranger who said they looked on my then best friend's social media account and figured the post and comments had to be about me since she called me her best friend on a lot of posts. She said that she thought I should know what she was saying about me because they were so bad, and if they weren't actually about me then she was sorry for sending them. I thanked her and promised to keep her anonymity so the girl wouldn't get kicked out of the group. Then I sent screenshots to my friend and said this friendship is over. Apostrophe. Good for you, mate. When I realized how ashamed she made me feel about myself, looking back, I think she projected her insecurities onto me because it is what her family did to her. When I decided to be more open about who I was and what I believed in, she ghosted me. It's crazy how people can project so effectively. I had a friend like this who was constantly telling me in subtle and overt ways how I was inferior to her in every way. Years later, long after having cut her out, I see how jealous she was. How much she needed to belittle me to cope with the fact that I had a loving family and strong belief in myself, while she did not. I honestly feel sorry for her, because she had a very loyal friend who loved her, but her own dark pain pushed me away. When he spent 15 minutes pressuring me to take shots after I was diagnosed with liver disease. God, that shit makes me angry. Whether you've got a medical reason or you just don't want to drink, pressuring people to do that just makes you a massive asshole. Jokes on him. 10 years later he has liver problems. People can be so careless with their health. I hope your liver is doing good. I am. Eased off the booze and everything returned to normal after a while. I had this really close friend growing up. When we got to high school he started ignoring me. It started from small things, like not inviting me when the boys would go out and chill. Then towards the end of high school I started going through some real shit. Instead of being like a friend and talking to me about it, he totally distanced himself from me. Even heard about how he would talk shit behind my back. We'll never know what happened. This is in a sense me too. When I was in high school everyone loved to hang out with me. I was the token gay guy that made your day feel like an episode of Will and Grace. I was nerdy and funny and meshed well with the dudes. I was sassy and caring and meshed well with the ladies. After we graduated I guess the novelty wore off. The women stopped calling because they were having a wine and dining girls night that I previously was always invited to. The men stopped calling because they wanted to have a UFC guys night and talk about guy stuff that previously was always invited to. I was too much of a girl to be one of the guys and too much of a guy to be one of the girls. I dropped all of them. I never really had an easy time finding another friend group. I haven't had a best friend or a friend really in about 15 years. Other than my forever best friend, my husband. When she's starting cancelling plans for silly reasons. Not replying to my messages. However, whenever we hung out she was always on her phone. I know so many FKNPPL like this _. Sorry to hear that. It's just such a shame when it happens with a friend you feel very close to. Happened in my case because she got a boyfriend, which is fine. But it's still important to have friends and other commitments when being in a relationship. When they ghosted me as best man in my wedding, they've never reached out since. I found a new best friend that day. My husband's best man did that too. Haven't heard from him since. Luckily my brother-in-law and my sister's boyfriend stepped up to fill the vacancies and my husband still felt supported that day. WTF. So they're more like me. My brother took the role of best man after my best friend, who I know since I was 2 or so, didn't show up and later blamed me for not waking him up by calling him on the phone. Some people just suck and are not going to deliver when you need them, I guess. Glad you had someone to step in for you. When they tried their absolute best to get my GF to break up with me, I'm going to guess it was good old jealousy that they did that. I mean, she was in a solid relationship herself, so I wouldn't have thought so, but who knows? Crazy be crazy. When she had an affair with my dad, causing my parents to divorce after 30+ years. Now they are married and he has nothing to do with us, my sister and his 6 grandsons. That guy is gonna have some very miserable elderly years. I was the one who maintained contact for years. She contacted me only when she needed something from me, money, lift, emotional support, etc. and for the drama with her boyfriends, and she loves drama. Close bracket. I stopped talking to her for 4 years when she suddenly emailed me explaining she was forced to drop our friendship because of her boyfriend jealousy. It's not her fault yada yada, and she wanted to talk to me again. Same old story. I deleted her email and moved on with my life. When I realized that I was the worst person when I was around him, he was very good at convincing you to do really shitty things, and I let it go way too far before I realized that. Luckily I did eventually and completely cut him out of my life. I stopped doing drugs. Makes you begin to see the company you keep in a fresh light. One day after 13 years of friendship he just blocked me everywhere and refused to tell me why. Then he began to indirectly insult me in online groups we both were in. Didn't say my name, but it was obvious he meant me. I honestly should have broken that friendship off long ago. He used to really bully me back in school. After school things got better though, and I thought he changed. To this day I have no idea what happened there. If there was just a misunderstanding or I did something wrong I didn't realize. Doesn't matter since after it, he showed his true colors. Someone might have said something true or untrue about you to him. When I found a list of their friends and there was a question mark next to my name. People do this? Question mark? Question mark? Apparently so. It's been 10 years, and I still remember that shit like it was yesterday. It hurt me really deep, because that was the one person I trusted more than anyone else. She never knew I saw what she wrote. I just slowly distanced myself from her as time went on because of it. Even as a kid, I knew if she was questioning our friendship then, she'd only continue to do so. So I removed myself from the situation. The moment they got a girlfriend, I don't know why people get so egotistical after that. Mister, Garrison said it best when he said, "Don't ever let poontang get between you and your friends." When he confessed his love for my girlfriend shortly after we broke up. I had been dating her for 3 years, and he was my roommate for 3 years. To make matters worse, my now ex-GF lived directly below me, so I would hear everything whenever they hung out together. When she said it's exhausting being friends with a disabled person. When she spent our first phone conversation after my mom died talking about all the issues she was having with her shitty boyfriend. Like, I was always there for her to talk about this, but we couldn't take a break for one day to talk about how I, at 8 months pregnant no less, had just lost my mother. I was done. When she made some rather derogatory comments about immigrants and being bilingual. At the time, I was married to an immigrant, and we were raising our child to be bilingual. I didn't say anything to her about it, and it was said in such a passing manner that she may not even have realized what she had said. I realized she grew up to be so genuinely tacky. Our friendship just kinda faded out from there. I found out they were racist and just a really nasty person overall. I didn't want that sort of influence in my life. I felt hella uncomfortable when this girl I was friends with would say the N-word. I wish I would have told her to stfu. When I realized how pretty her eyes were, it was a quick slide into oh my god, I'm gay for her, and then the miraculous feeling of her reciprocating. 1 year strong. Best friend turned girlfriend? Question mark. Lol, it's nice to see a positive post in this sea of terrible friends. When my friends outed me as bisexual to my extremely homophobic and religious parents. Not cool. Not cool at all. When I got sick of him telling me my meds are bad for me, I'm bipolar, and finally found a decent balance. Fick that noise. It's hard enough being bipolar and finding meds that work for you. Good on you for putting your health before other people's ignorance. French person here. Realized that my best friend for almost 10 years was just using me. I noticed some changes before getting in high school, but when I finally got there, she just ignored me. I also realized that being with her made me stay far from everyone else. I literally got only one friend, but even her was fake. Well, few years later it still hurts. They betrayed me by spreading a rumor about me. Same. At least they are out of my life now. Good riddance. I joined the Air Force out of high school. My best friends not once congratulated me on anything, and stopped talking to me when they noticed how well I was doing. They remained in our hometown, and to this day, continue to do the same thing we did in high school. When I joined the Coast Guard, and haven't heard from him since. FYI, we were best friends for 8 years. He lived with my family for 3, and we helped him graduate HS/move out from a toxic home situation. Inversely, my other best friend, since HS from back home, still keeps in touch regularly, so cheers to him. He completely ghosted all of his friends without warning, including me and my GF, now wife, after graduation. I found out later through another friend that he wanted to start fresh in college. This guy was like a brother to me, and was my first real friend. I wish I could say karma came back and bit him, but no, quite the opposite. He achieved his dreams of graduating from his dream school and got his dream job as a military helicopter pilot. It is bittersweet. A part of me is happy he made it, but he also threw us away like garbage, so that sucks. Paul, if you are reading this, duck you. You were going to be my best man. It has been over a decade and the way you left us still hurts. Hey PSSST. Please subscribe and like.